riders and everybody. Welcome to the channel. I hope you're really going to like this video. It should be quite helpful, hopefully. I have this Carbon Cub S2, love the plane, been flying it for a long time, using it as a bush plane. I've broken some pieces now and again. One of the main problems I had with this was the landing gear. If you're doing really short landings, sometimes it's just gonna stall or the wind will change or it'll pound down. So I had some problems with the original landing gear. Now I've changed it. I put on this really nice landing gear, which you will see me assemble now in a minute, but whoa, doesn't that look good? I think it looks way better than the original. So join me. First I'll show you the problems I had with the old one very quickly, and then I'm going to show you assembling this landing gear alternative, and after that we'll go fly and put it all together in a video and hope you guys enjoy it. Okay, thanks for watching. So we do a close-up here, and I'll show you these were the original wheels, but they tend to bend, and then you need to take them off, put them in a vice grip or something to straighten them. Otherwise, if you straighten them on the plane, and there were two pieces of plastic here, just a channel that holds this in place, they were right there. They don't, they've broken off on my plane, here and here. If you're doing this modification, if they've already broken off, great. If not, then you'll need to remove them. So I'll take out the wheel. Okay, there's our standard wheels that came with the plane. I'm going to use this spacer, so when I refer to the spacer that's going to be used in the next one, I'm going to use this spacer. Okay, I'll put a link, or I'll put the part number for this down below. So this comes with these quite nice wheels with fairing on the side. I took them off, and you can use them for something else, whatever you want to make. So first thing I'm going to do is remove this Velcro here that I don't need anymore. You can see it's taking off some of the foam here. So that's going to get removed. These are going to be kept. These are the original, that's the wrong side, there we go. That fits in there nicely. I'm going to keep those on. You can see here if you look carefully. Okay, there we go. There's markings on there. Right, so that one is the right one. Okay, and the other one has an L on it. So they go in there. Can be a little bit finicky to get them in the right position. Okay, so the wheels have been removed, and these those plastic rails have been removed. I took my Velcro. That was my Velcro. It didn't come with the plane. Make sure your cables are up here, your power cable and your bind plug. This guy falls out just because I have the plane tilted so that you guys can see it better. Otherwise, if you had the plane flat, it would stay there. This here is my battery holder. So if you go to my website, you'll find a link for some of my 3D designs. This is on there. You can get this and download it. I like it because it's pretty easy with the standard battery. So this is pretty much the standard battery that I have, the 2200 Spectrum 3S, and it just fits in there nicely every time you fly. So you don't need Velcro, and you don't need, well, you're going to use a Velcro strap, but apart from that you don't have to worry about it falling around, especially if you're doing pretty tough stall landings or loops or anything like that. The groove here will go towards the front. Okay, so I just show you that. I'm going to move that Velcro. Here's our two cables. That's the groove, so our cables are accessible, and then it's going to go down like that, and I'm going to pull the Velcro through here and here. Now, depending on what Velcro you have, you may want to replace your Velcro, use a different strap, or you might want to use the original strap. Okay, so I just took the Velcro out, goes through these two hoops here, and then I'm going to use the original one just for the sake of this video, because maybe you don't have another one, but it's just going to go in here like this. That's the original one, and then this will go through here Put my cables down there temporarily. Okay, that goes through there. Next one goes through here. Okay, we pull that up. There may be a better way of doing this. I don't know. Oh, don't lock my cables in there. Take your cables out. Okay. Now I have my Velcro, my cables. And I just push that down. It's a little bit of a tight fit, but I wanted it to be a tight fit so that, you know, it will hold in there firmly, okay? So, I'll take this out, I'll take that out there. So now once we have our battery bay installed, you don't need this battery bay, it's optional. I just designed it and printed out my 3D printer. I printed this in PETG using my Anycubic Cobra, which is a pretty cheap printer, but works pretty well. Here's my battery. Okay, so I like to put it in this way. You can put it in this way, you just might have a lot of cable to wind up there. I'll put it in here, okay, and then strap it down, and then of course clip it together. I'm not gonna plug it in right now. And then that is, as you can see, that's not going to move, you know, it's not gonna fall out if you do some hard landings or anything like that. Okay, so let me take it out, and now let's get back to the wheels. So here is our landing gear, and probably easier to put on the wheels first. So let's do that. There's my original spacers. Okay, they're not quite gonna fit on perfectly, so I'm just gonna grip them here really tight. Get my 3mm drill bit and just make sure they're loose. Okay, there's one, and then you don't need to see me do the other one. Okay. Okay, this is a stainless steel M3. Okay, you can get that's a hex nut on there. You can get whatever you like. That's fine. And we have a few washers lying around there. So what we want to do is, I'm going to put this through here. And then I'm going to put on the lock nut. Okay, that's going to go on next. Now make sure you use a lock nut. You can see the rubber in there. Okay, make sure you use a lock nut on here. And I'll tell you why. Because if that's all the way on and you put your wheel on here and your wheel is spinning in this direction and this is not tight, it will twist. As it twists, it may tighten its grip on the wheel, and it may be just like hitting the brakes full power. And I don't know if any of you have actually flown a real tail dragger, or sorry, I shouldn't say real, full-scale tail dragger. You'll know that hammering on the brakes when you land in a tail dragger is probably not the thing to do unless you really want to be upside down and break your propeller. So make sure that this goes on here pretty tight. Okay, now because it's a lock nut, it's gonna take me a bit of time to get it on, but let's see if we can do a magic trick for that. Now if you're going to do this, don't tighten it all the way, because otherwise the metal will fly around and cut your hand. Right about there is where you want to slow down. You see it? Okay, and the rest I will do by hand. If you go all the way with the power drill by hand, that will spin around, that will cut your hands, that's pretty sure. Okay, once that's gonna be in there and tight, then I would put on my spacer. Okay. Let me tighten it up first. Okay, I'm back. So I've tightened that up manually. Now I'm going to put my spacer on here. Okay. Then I'm going to put my washer on here. Yeah, that's going to allow it to spin freely. Next I'm going to put my wheel in here. Now you could put a little bit of grease on here if you like, that's not a bad idea. And what you also could do actually, underneath that lock, you could put some Loctite thread locking gel. Okay, that's going to go in here. So I'm not going to put any grease on it just yet. Okay, as I said, that's M3 by 35 I used. And then let me put another washer on this side. Okay, there we go, one washer on there. And now my lock nut goes on here. And the reason I'm using this lock nut is not to keep it tight, it's to keep it in position. Okay, so again, a little bit of thread locking paste on there would be great. Let me tighten this up then. So I don't actually have an M3 socket or a wrench, but I did buy one. So now I've made that quite tight, and that's too tight, so basically my plane would nose over. It moves, but it's stiff. You do not want it stiff. Okay, we loosen it up there. You want it basically to fly around like that when you pick it up, that it doesn't stop. Right, that's good. Now I'll do the other one. Okay, so there again, there's my bolt, there's my lock nut, that's on very tight, very secure. And grab my spacer, grab my washer, put my wheel on, grab another washer, and make sure I have a lock nut here. Okay, and then, you know, buy some proper tools. Tighten it up. So now that's the brakes. Gonna take it out one twist and see. There we go. That goes freely around there. So now, okay, they look pretty good actually. I could have used a smaller washer on there. I have some smaller washers, maybe I'll change that later. They look pretty good. Okay, now let's put it on the plane. Oh wait, right before I do that, one last question. One question for you guys. Let's see if you can write down in the comments. Okay, so that's the front of my plane, okay, the way my finger's pointing, okay? If that inside nut came loose, which wheel will tighten on landing? There's a question for you. This is the left wheel, plane's going forward. This is the right wheel. If I did not use a lock nut there and that nut became loose, and this nut here inside became a little bit loose and the wheels were spinning, which wheel will tighten up and stop moving? There's your question. I know the answer to that because guess what? I'm actually editing this video and sticking this piece into it because yesterday I made that mistake and one of my wheels locked up on landing. Not on landing, on taxi trials. Yeah, first I did a lot of taxi trials and I would recommend you do that too. Just use one whole battery, taxiing around, getting used to the way it handles on the ground, and then get your second battery when you want to try flying it. Don't just put them on and fly. That wouldn't make any sense. I mean, anybody who works on aeroplanes, taxi tests always the right thing to do before you go fly. Okay, let's put them on the plane, and wow, I'm pretty happy with those. Okay, next piece. So to mount our landing gear, there's our battery cable, there's our bind cable. I've just tucked it in that little hole there. And put these on, curve pointing forward. Okay, so I put a little bit of sticky tape on these to hold them in position. And it should line up there if I've done my math correctly. So for the first two front holes, I'm going to use this. Okay, that is a M2.5, 16 millimeters long. And I'm going to put these in here. Put the next one in here. I'm not going to tighten them down all the way yet. Then I'm going to take my drill through here and here. So here, this is a very small drill bit, I think 1.5, so you can see, you know, as long as it's smaller than the screw going into it, we're fine. We're only going to use it to make a starter hole. Okay, now I have everything lined up, so it should all be in the right position. Try to get this in the very center. Okay, I'm just drilling through the plastic at the top. There you go, two very small little holes. And I think what I will go for here is this, okay, M2 by 16. These are self-tapping screws. If you can see that the thread is different, M2 by 16. You see, there we go. Okay, self-tapping M2 by 16. Okay, now I've put a little washer on there. I'll try it again. So again, don't go too tight on these because it's just going to hold on that little piece of plastic that you've already drilled through. That's why we drilled quite a small hole there. These are just kind of to keep it in position. Okay, and the next one, M2 by 16. And my washer. I'm trying to keep my hands so that you can see this. Good. Now I'll tighten the first ones down fully. That's it. All right, see if the door closes. Well, you're gonna have a little bit of height here that you didn't have before, but you know, just push it down a little bit and it'll close. You'll have a slight little bubble here as well, but I don't think that's going to matter too much. Oh, and what I have noticed is, so these guys are also off for some reason. All right. Okay, and now, I mean, if you don't use your pine plug, you could probably get rid of it, but I wonder would it fit down there. It does, look. I'll put it in that little circular hole. Now it's out of the way, but I can still pull it out if I need it. Okay, so my battery, okay, doesn't matter, it goes upside down to be honest. It's gonna go in here. Clamp it down there with the Velcro. Okay, it's a little bit raised up, but it's gonna stay. Plug it in. Okay, normally I put my power cables then there or flat on the top. Like that, close down the lid. There we go. Let's turn it around here now. And we're back, had some great flying. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you like it, please give me a like, put something in the comments, tell me how useful these are. I hope you guys really appreciate it. And I appreciate all the comments that people have left already, some asking questions, some giving tips and advice. Really great guys, thanks, keep it up. And see you for the next one. Cheerio.